What do you think, everybody? We are here.
Yeah.
This is exactly how it is. You heard us talking it all up. We're going through a little bit of changes, making some decisions, and we are super duper stoked about everything that we do, how we're going to rock it, and how we are going to roll it from here on out when it comes to the Metal Summit. You guys are in for some serious treats. We're going to do a little bit of extra intros later in the show to introduce you to some cats, but we are here and ready to rock. As always, it is Wednesday night. We are your islet of misfit toys. This is exactly where you know you want to be. This is exactly where you know you need to be. We have M3 coming up this weekend down here in Baltimore. Our guest tonight is involved with that. But we have Bobby Dreyer. We've got Angel. We will have Psycho Steve, and I am Jay. And like I said, we've got Tora Tora in the house. Anthony Corder, how are you, brother?
Yeah.
What's going on? Thank you.
We are great, man. We are great. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Man, I'm so excited to talk to y'all. I'm excited for you guys, man. M3 coming. It was a bucket list gig for us. We got to come up there and play, and it was the most incredible experience, man. The community, the culture, the parties. It was amazing. It was so cool, man. And I had people that wrote me that from our former record companies from years back that said they had seen Zeppelin open for the Who at that venue. And they were like, you're fixing to go on the solid ground and get to do these gigs. We were just so pumped. We couldn't believe that we got to do it and be there with everybody. So I'm excited for y'all. You're going to have a great 4th of July. It'll be amazing.
Absolutely, man. So you and I did our last interview at that M3, and you were fantastic. You guys did, super duper great. So I want to take you back, not all the way 2 years back to that M3. I want to take you back to last year real quick, to the year that time forgot and the year that music got erased. Because one of the things that I thought was really cool and fantastic, and I really got to give them props for, was Monsters of Rock Cruise worked really hard to keep people like yourselves in front of the camera and keep you guys in the public eye. We've talked on many an episode, and it's always been a constant thing when it comes to music in general, that you can be forgotten in the music biz probably faster than any other biz. So I do got to give a shout out to Mork for the way that they handled that, and to bring it back to you, because you did perform acoustically on that.
I did, man. It was an honor to go do it, man, for the crew and everybody. I can't believe the things that we went through this past year. Everybody, man, we went into a freaking alternate universe, man. I would have never believed we were walking around with a mask on and the whole world hit pause. I remember the day it happened. I drove in. I'm a instructor. I'm a professor. I teach entertainment business at a college, and I pulled up, and they said, "Don't even go, because we're going to close today, and you're going online in 2 days." And somebody had been exposed. It was March 16th. And I remember I came home and I was calling the band, and we were talking, and we had studio time booked, and we were like thinking, this is going to just blow over. So we're like, hey, let's put the studio time on hold for a month or so. And, we'll be back in business, and I'll see you in a bit, and May rolled up, and we were in a whole different state of mind, like everybody else. We were like, hey man, this is like going into overdrive, something completely, we couldn't have fathomed it. But man, the Monsters of Rock thing was amazing. It was so cool. They were so professional. I went up to Cincinnati. So I'm here. I'm based out of Nashville. The band, of course, is based out of Memphis. But I just drove right up the road. It wasn't very far for me. And the crew was so professional. It was really kind of odd, and to be in that setting. And it was just the people that were there running the equipment, instead of having a live audience. But it was such a great opportunity, and my hat goes off to Larry and all those guys for putting it together, and all the other artists that contribute their time to come out. And listen, man, the Monsters of Rock Cruise was one of the craziest experiences we'd ever had. It was so awesome. You find your freaking tribe, man. I'm not kidding. We got out, and it was just insane. It was the craziest thing. We did the first one in 2017, and there was a friend of ours, April Lee, had approached us about doing it. And the previous year, Patrick, our bass player, had gone through a health scare. He was diagnosed with cancer. And the crazy thing is, he went in for another treatment for something else, and they actually found it. It was super aggressive, but they said, hey, the great news is we're going to get it, and you're going to make a full recovery. So we got it right at the very beginning. So
very cool.
As soon as he stepped out of that, and he had the all clear from the doctor, he said, I want to play. He goes, I don't care if it's 5 people or 5,000 or 50,000. I want to go start playing gigs. And the first thing we did is we jumped on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So we were so excited. And man, all the bands we saw, Kicks, Tesla, Queensryche, freaking every one of them blew us away. I mean, we can't get over it. And I mean, I still can't get over Steve Whiteman. His voice is
oh my God, we love Steve.
We do too, man. We do too, man. I'm serious. When we very first started Tora Tora, before Surprise Attack came out, we were leading up to the release date, the street date, and we got on a tour with Kicks. We got to do like 5 or 6 shows with them, and it was right as Don't Close Your Eyes was exploding. It was everywhere. They were just giant. They were all over MTV. And we played up around Baltimore in their hometown at Hammer Jacks and some of the theater places. And y'all, we were blown away. I mean, they were so nice. They were so humble and so cool to us. They knew we were green as a gourd. We didn't know our freaking head from a hole in the ground. But they were cool. And they put us in front of their audience, man. And I got to find Steve on that Monsters of Rock trip. My wife and I had went to get something to eat. And it was kind of the middle of the day. Everybody was out at shows. And the place to eat was kind of quiet. It wasn't very many people in there. Well, Steve walked in with his wife, and I saw him, and I told my wife, I said, God, this is the wrong time. I know he's trying to just be by himself, but I want to say something. I just felt this urge, man, to go over there. And I wanted to go tell him how much we appreciated him, man, because being related to them gave us credibility, like as new people coming in. And I got to thank him in person. I said, man, I never got a chance to tell you how much that meant to us to do those gigs. And the crowds, because of them, we could go back to Baltimore and play those same places and pull in huge audiences, sell out little clubs and Hammer Jacks and all those places. And it was because of them. They had put in so much work ahead of time. And he was just awesome. He was humble, just like y'all would expect him to be. Y'all have talked to him and met him and everything. And he just said, hey, man, you had to go out there and earn it, man. He said you went out and had to get up in front of everybody, and it was, hometown and stuff. So he was just super down to earth, and we still think the world of them, man. They're awesome. We saw them in 2008 at Rocklahoma. I tried to catch him there and catch him backstage, but they were doing warm-ups and stuff, and it was not the right time. And so the Monsters of Rock afforded me that opportunity. So I was thrilled, and to see them and get to see their shows, it was just, he's one of the best front men in the world, man. I'm not kidding. He's so good. So good.
So awesome, man, for sure. Bobby Dreyer, let's bring you back in here, man. It's all you. Kick it out.
Anthony, I got to kick it out. So when you guys, look, you mentioned Nashville, which I will be down there in a week and a half for NAMM. Thank God summer NAMM is back.
You got to catch up down here.
Oh, dude, I will be there. I'm right across the street. And then Rockin' Pod will be there. But, so there's so many great people who live in Nashville now. You have Matthew and Gunnar.
Yeah.
You have Mark Slaughter.
Yes.
Kelly Keege's down there now.
Yes,
you have Michael Wagner, who's retiring. Michael's getting rid of everything. But, it's interesting how the 80s changed, that people are either right now gravitating to Nashville or Vegas.
Yeah.
When you guys came out and when you had walking shoes and everything was rocking, did you want to stay grounded where you were, or did you go, we need to go to LA and follow the trend?
Well, man, just to totally be transparent, man, we signed a production deal with a studio in Memphis. It's a studio called Ardent Studios. I don't know if your viewers and everybody are aware of it, but it's very famous. There was an opportunity for us to win in these battle of bands contest kind of things, and we won some studio time at Ardent. And we ended up running into this engineer guy, Paul Eversole, and we were working on a little 5-song EP that we were putting together ourselves back then. And we went in to cut a couple of the songs with him, and he just saw something in us, man. I don't know. He was young, kind of like us too, and he approached us. He worked on the record. He actually recorded some piano on Phantom Rider, the very first version of it. And the song ended up coming out in Memphis on local radio, and it became kind of like a regional hit for us. And that was kind of how we got signed to A&M was through those recordings. And anyway, he kind of approached us and said, "Would you guys be interested in doing a production deal? I'm going to talk to the owner of the studio." And the guy's name was John Fry. He was really famous for producing the band Big Star. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with him, but he had done all that work, and then he kind of morphed into doing the business at the studio. And John kind of became a father figure to our band. He was the guy that kind of took us in an office. We were all partying and crazy, and he drew a circle on the wall, and he stuck a dot in the middle. And he goes, "This is you, and this is everybody's going to dig in your pocket, that's going to be involved with you." And we went, "Sign us up, man. We're ready to go. Can we go play our music and do these things, So we were kind of bound to Memphis, and we did all of our recording there for 6 years, everything from the Surprise Attack, Wild America, and Revolution Day. We recorded at Ardent Studios. It was the state-of-the-art facilities.
Oh, yeah.
Our first producers were Paul Eversole. He was on it, and also he worked with Joe Hardy, who had just come off a big run with ZZ Top, all the Afterburner and all those records.
Oh, wow.
Getting involved with them gave us like instant credibility within the industry. People saw them that they were working with us, and we were kind of having this opportunity to go in as just a little garage band, man. We were a bunch of little kids and go in and work with these people. And man, we're so proud of those recordings that we did out there. Those guys really on us and their techniques in the studio. When we heard what they had done with the things that we recorded, we couldn't believe it. We just said, "Oh my God, this sounds amazing." So we owe a lot to them on that first record, the success of it, and the way that it's still to us, that we're still proud of it, how they produced it. But getting back to kind of what you were saying, we kind of were catching the vibes and everything from the Strip in Memphis. Memphis kind of got hot right at the mid and end of the 80s, where there was a big rock scene there. And of course we were watching the Strip and, Motley Crue and Rat and everything.
Yeah, not to interject, but good friends of ours from Roxy Blue from.
Oh, yeah. We were all there together, man.
Yeah.
He was there. The Every Mother's Nightmare guys were there. And I mean, there was tons of bands from Memphis is cool. The way it's positioned in the state, man. Arkansas is close. Mississippi's close. Alabama's close. So all these musicians would come into Memphis and play gigs.
But you have great food too.
Oh yeah. Bias to the food down there. The barbecue, come on. It's on, man, if y'all want to talk about that. But the scene was blowing up. And what was cool is there was some places, there was only a few places, but there was a couple places that would let you do original music. And they were doing things like producers showcases, videos were happening. And so there was activity, and it was a lot of competition, but it was friendly competition, man. We knew each other.
And Gibson was still there at the time too.
Yes, Gibson was still there. But as other people were getting attention, it brought attention to these other bands, to people like us, when other people were getting activity and having record people and all that. So it kind of was raising all the ships as everybody was getting attention. It kind of helped everybody. Yeah. You were definitely competing. Everybody was listening to everybody's latest song and all that stuff. And Beale Street was really cool. It had a place called the New Daisy that was about a 900,000 seat venue. And so they had a local DJ on a local radio station. His name was Malcolm Riker. He started doing a local jam. It was sponsored by the radio station. The local music store did the back line. And you could jump up and do 3 songs or 15 minutes. That was kind of how. And if you went over, they just unplugged you or off the stage. It was funny. But so many bands came, and what was so cool is it was open to the public for all ages. So the building would just be packed. And it was on an off night. It was on like a Tuesday night or something. It'd be 1,000 people crammed in there. So we kind of got introduced to each other's, we kind of cannibalized off each other's audiences. So we would all bring a few people in there, and all of a sudden the room would be packed out. It's kind of like what they did in Nashville with the rock and roll residency.
Yes.
Yeah. And they did the same thing where people were getting up and singing and playing, and they were kind of rotating. And all of a sudden there was like this community. There was people showing up, every time that they played. And it grew from just a little kind of small gathering to they were playing these huge venues in Nashville, man. And it was just so inspiring. Both of those settings, man. Memphis, when that was happening, it was younger, and up here as I saw it happen, here lately. So, but yeah, we thought about LA and stuff. And after we got signed, we went there to visit. We would go do all our press days and we'd play our shows and stuff, make our run on the West Coast. But we never really made the leap out there to live. And it kind of worked in our favor. It was a lot less expensive to live in Memphis and to be at home and do the recordings and stuff there. It was easy just to zip in, and we were sneaking in the studio all hours of the night. We would record songs together, and we would go ring the bell, and the little night guy was there, and we'd go, "Hey, can you help us set up some microphones so we can, try to demo some songs?" And we were just kind of writing. The process for us was really new at the beginning. We were green. We didn't know we didn't have the experience, I guess, under our belt. And so we were just trying stuff and getting in there and trying to figure things out. And so we'd write kind of in batches of songs, and we'd get 5 or 6 together, and then we'd pick the best one out of that batch, and then we'd say, okay, now that's the bar. We're going to go back and write, and we got to beat this one. And we did that for a year, writing Surprise Attack, going in and cutting the demos and stuff. And Walking Shoes actually was one of the last songs that we wrote. We had already had, I don't know, we probably wrote 50 or 60 songs for that first record. And I remember Keith and I were in an apartment that he lived in, and I was laying in the floor, like, scribbling around, writing some lyrics or something. And he said, I got this lick. And he started playing that little intro lick to Walking. Yeah. And I just freaked out. I was like, oh my God, man, what is that?
That is like one of my favorite licks on there. It's just like, yeah, I want to pick up my guitar.
It was so exciting, man. We were so excited about it. And then, of course, we went and demoed it. And then the record company heard it, and they said, man, hell yeah, let's cut that for real. Let's go in and, spend some time on it and get it sounding killer. And, man, Keith's always a riff meister. He's always coming up with stuff. And he was a huge, he loved Randy Rhoads. They listened to a lot of double guitar stuff, like Judas Priest and and stuff like that. They had a lot of that influence. It was real funny, man. Before we got together, they were in a band called Lycanthrope, like the werewolf, and it was a double guitar thing. I'm not kidding. And I remember when I was going to go over to try out to sing for them, Patrick and Keith were real good friends, and Patrick's a bass player and Keith's a guitar player, but Patrick and I went to high school together, and I remember, this is dating us so bad on here, but it's hilarious. This is kind of how we used to hang out. I was at the
1980.
I was at the mall, man, and Patrick came up to me and he said, hey, man, we're trying out some singers. Do you want to come try? And I had been kind of singing this little neighborhood band, that had done a couple of talent shows and stuff, and I was super nervous, man. I thought they were super successful. Like, they had been in the studio, they had played some live gigs and stuff, like in some bad parts of town, and I was like, oh man, these guys are really doing it, and I was super nervous. And so I went over there, and for some reason, I got in this mindset that I said, man, I'm going to do like this singer-songwriter thing. I'm going to take my acoustic over, and I'm going to play like an Eagles song or something and try to show my voice off or something. And I walk in, I played about maybe a portion of a verse, and they stopped me and go, man, that's awesome, but do you know some Cheap Trick? Do you know Rush? Do you know Aerosmith? It's cool that you're trying to sing or whatever, but can you do this? And I remember walking in, and it was at Patrick's house, and they were in the living room, man, and John had a set of drums with rototoms. I mean, he looked like he was in the Coliseum or something. And Keith had 2 amps, like 50-watt amps on each side of the room. He had like a Marshall and a Peavey, and they started into 2112. It went across the room, and I just thought it was awesome. I was like, oh my God, these dudes are killer, and just something clicked with us like right away. As soon as we all kind of hung out, we just felt like it was something kind of cool. Keith and Patrick, the guitar player and the bass player, have known each other since they were 8 years old, so they've known each other their entire life, and they were really good friends, hanging out. And then of course John and Keith had played in that other band, and they got together. But it was just such a wild ride, y'all. I mean, it was so funny. When we got signed, Keith and I were cutting grass. My mom was a real estate agent. Fine, man. This is so funny. He bought a pickup to carry his stuff around, his amps and stuff. So we threw some lawnmowers in the back and started cutting my mom's properties. We would ride around in the car and just dream, man. We're looking at the sky and stuff, and we'd go, man, wouldn't it be crazy if we got in the studio and we got to record some songs? And, we just were thinking these crazy thoughts of big blue sky dreams, And the next thing we knew, we were in the studio and we were recording, and we couldn't believe it. I mean, we were just blown away. We just said it was like getting hit by lightning or something. And, at the beginning, we were still kind of fumbling around and trying to find our way. But we were lucky because we ran into these people that had experience and they kind of been through it. And they kind of showed us the ropes, showed us the protocol, introduced us to the industry, things that we weren't thinking about. We really wanted to party. We were like, where's the party and what's going on? And we want to do that. And they kind of set us down and said, that's going to happen. But these other things are going to be things you got to take care of first, to get to do all that. So it was crazy.
That's awesome. That's so super duper cool, man, for sure. Great. I'm gonna jump in real quick. I'm gonna bring in our next segment because, ladies, it's about that time for you to get ready to start chucking some bras at the screen because our rock and roll freak Angel is about to take over the show with our first segment of our guest Q&A. So there we go, ladies. Bobby is starting it off for you guys. So we are going to bring in Angel. There are going to be more segments. Anybody who's new to the show, don't forget, keep slinging those comments. We are definitely going to get your questions answered by Anthony. But Angel, it's all you, brother. How are you tonight, and how are the Metal Summoners?
Oh, I am awesome. I bought this shirt back in February before it was announced that you would be on the show.
Man,
so I'm wearing it for the first time tonight.
Thank you, man, for getting that.
No, and like I said, before I get to the questions, I just got to share this story because you kind of shared a similar story about you meeting Steve Whiteman. But 2 years ago at M3, when I came in to do an interview with you, I was really starstruck, and I kind of looked behind me for a moment because you was kind of waving and saying hello, being very nice and welcoming. And I'm like, there's got to be somebody behind me. So it was like a Wayne's World moment. Anybody has seen the movie?
Man, listen, we appreciate you guys giving us a platform to reach everybody. I really mean that. This is huge, and I'm honored to be on here. So thank y'all.
So it was, like I said, just very nice, very welcoming. Because when you were a teenager, well, back in our time, we used to read Metal Edge magazine, read your interviews, see your videos, buy your albums, and you always wonder, man, it would be so fucking cool to meet them. So then when that moment happened, it was just everything that I had expected. Just want to say thank you.
Oh, man.
And thank you for the DVD as well.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Man, this DVD was so fun putting together. Patrick was in recovery, and there was a friend of ours, Matt Montgomery, in Memphis, that he owns a studio there, Supersonic Studio. But before that, he had a lot of backline that he would use and help people as they were touring. He would provide that for them. But he, was at the forefront of putting this DVD together. He said, it's really important. We want to do something for Patrick, a benefit. And we had all these bands that Bobby had mentioned. Roxy Blue was there. Mother's Nightmare guys were there. And we had guests, people sitting in all day long. Zach Myers from Shinedown showed up, one of our friends from down in Memphis.
What year of Shinedown was that?
That video was probably 2016.
Yep, 2016, August 21st, 2016.
Nick Perry. So Nick was in Shinedown for a while. So
this was a little bit later, and Zach grew up in Memphis. He's an incredible guitar player, and he was just sweet to everybody to donate their time. We did it on a Sunday afternoon, and we really thought it was just going to be a small gathering, but man, it ended up blowing up in this thing that lasted all day long. It was so. Patrick was just so excited. We were so excited he was better and feeling good. And we had a friend of ours, Lance McDaniel, that came in and played the bass on the show with us. Patrick ended up getting up at the end for anybody that hadn't seen the DVD. But, man, Lance went to Patrick's house and sat across from him and played the parts and looked at him and said, hey, man, I want to make sure I'm doing this. And the thing I'd like to plug about Lance is he has a band called the Shotgun Billies. If y'all have never seen them or heard of them, he's one of the best fucking players. He plays slide incredible. I'm not kidding. You'll be in a room with him, and he'll be standing, tinkering around with his guitar, and he'll just reach over and pick up a wrench off the counter or something. I mean, and play stuff. He loves all brothers and stuff, But he's just an incredible player, and he did such a great job filling in that night. We were just so proud to have him on stage with us. So.
Nice.
I checked out the DVD. It's really well done. The people that were behind the scenes that did all the Pro Tools, the recording and everything did a great job.
Okay, now I'm going to get to the fan question. Sorry. Like I said, the fan in me always comes out.
It's all good. That's what we're about, Angel.
Yeah, man, come on.
So the first question is from Candy. I always feel sorry for because we always have a bunch of
because we always want candy.
And we love you. We always make you wait so long for our questions because that's how we show we care. Okay, her question before she tells me to shut up and read the damn question. Hi, Anthony. I always ask this question. Who or what inspires you to be the best?
Whoa, man. There's a lot of things that inspire me, man. The first thing that comes to mind is my family. They were all kind of porch pickers, is what I call them. We're all from down. My family's from down the Delta, Mississippi. And
That's a little racist, don't you think? No,
no, man. My aunt and my uncle both were guitar players. They're the reason I picked the guitar up. They were turning me on to stuff like Boston and Foreigner. We listened to a lot of soul music. Al Green. They listened to a lot of that. But listening to like Skinner, I mean, they were from a little bit older era than me. My aunt's probably about 10 years older than me, but she is the reason I got into rock and roll. She had Destroyer, the Kiss record.
Wow. And before you do, what'd you think of the documentary?
I have not seen it yet, to be honest. I'm due to see it, but I'm a huge Kiss fan. I didn't.
We all are.
But man, she had the poster from 1976 on her wall, and I'll never forget it, man. She put on God of Thunder. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and I just completely freaked out, man. Those little demon voices, the little kids. We found out later it's the little children talking. But man, I ran out of the room, and I was like, I got to go back in there. What was it? And I went back. Listen, y'all, she put on Detroit Rock City. And I was just hooked, man. Shouted out loud. I mean, I just started freaking out. I was like, oh, my God, what is this? And so we live way out in the boonies, man, out in Mississippi. We got into Kiss. I wanted to join the Kiss Army. My family, they're Southern Baptists. They didn't want me to join the Kiss Army. Okay, I'm not
going to hell.
Yeah, so there was a guy up the road from me that joined. And I remember, I'm not kidding, my cousin and I, he was a couple years older than me. We lived out there close to each other. We would go over to this guy's house, and we would sit down. Kiss would mail out their order sheet, and it had their belt buckles and their patches. It said Kiss Army on it. I mean, we just sit there for hours just staring at it going, oh, my God, the coolest thing in the world. And so y'all know this. As soon as Kiss Alive, when you got a hold of that one, it was over. I did the 100,000 Years drum solo. I was on the stage. I had my tennis racket. I was jumping around on my bed, man, just freaking out, man. I could hear the crowd. I knew that I wanted to do that at the beginning. I'm serious. I was like, this is the most nothing to lose. When that was going on, I just went crazy. I love those records, man. But we
need to be careful. We need to be careful talking about Kiss because Matt Porter's going to paint his computer.
Oh my God! Look, I do a Kiss radio show with Matt Porter, and Matt. Look, half of our audience are the biggest Kiss fans ever. Yeah. So we didn't get into this crap by accident.
Man, I'm serious. They were a huge influence, man. I remember Dynasty Tour came to Memphis, okay, and I lived about an hour and a half away
in Philly.
My uncle and aunt bought tickets, and my parents decided I was too young to go, and I couldn't go. And listen, I don't tell this story a lot, but listen, check this out. They in a little, not a little, but in a Thunderbird, man. It was green, forest green Thunderbird. We're out 6, man, on this gravel road. My cousin gets in. I'm sitting there bawling. It's like I have a movie. I'm looking, and he's going to Kiss, and I'm freaking out, man. And I can't go. And they start down the road, and the dust cloud comes up, and I start running, and they're going faster, and I get faster and faster. And my cousin gets in the back window like this, and goes, "I'm going to Kiss!" Like mouths it to me, and chasing it, and then it's just a dust cloud.
Oh,
here.
Oh.
Goes to the
That's like a horror movie.
It's a horror movie, but the most awesome thing
was like a chick stopping at the last minute. Wait, oh, sorry. No.
Concert. And I just sat for hours flipping through this concert book of Kiss Dynasty. It was showing them when they were up on the stage, the pillars way up in the air. And I mean, I was looking, and he just goes, "It was the most incredible show I've ever seen."
Anthony, I got to make you laugh. So you live in Nashville right now, and you're talking about the Dynasty Tour.
Yeah.
You have the queen of the Dynasty Tour right there. You have Desmond Child, who lives right near.
One of the greatest songs. Yeah.
Go over and knock on his damn door and go, bitch, you should have gave me a ticket.
Man, yeah. He's a great singer, man. He's a great songwriter, man. He's written so many big songs.
He's saying happy birthday to Jay.
Oh my God.
It was fantastic. Yeah, he happened to be the guest on my birthday episode.
Man,
So that was insane. That was so cool. That was so thrilling. Hold on a second, Bobby. Sorry to jump in on you, brother, but I got to keep this segment with Angel and the
Go
fans.
for it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Listen, family inspired me, man, and Kiss. And then as we got older, man, we're definitely influenced by all the like classic people like Zeppelin and Janis Joplin. And as we got older, and by the time we got into our second album, Wild America, we worked with the Memphis Horns. So we kind of backtracked into Stax, like Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett.
Wow.
And man, working with the Memphis Horns, they were super inspiring, man. By that point, they had played on like 300 #1 records, and it was pretty incredible. We were probably about 22 or something when we met them. We met them at a rehearsal one day, and they talked to us, man, about being an integrated group of people traveling around in the South in the 60s. They said, man, we'd be starving and be scared to pull over because we thought something was going to happen to us, you know. And but their music transcends time, man. That sound that they have when it's the two of them blowing the saxophone and the trumpet, they were the most down-to-earth people, and I stayed friends with them until they passed away. They were such a big influence on us. But I think that musically, the classic stuff that we all grew up on definitely inspired us. Aerosmith and Bad Company. I loved, Zeppelin and Janis Joplin were kind of places where I like, to hang my hat. But also, man, we're inspired by all you guys that give us these stories, man, that we sit down and write the lyrics about, and we think about y'all and all these crazy experiences that we had on the road, and seeing y'all and getting to travel. It's just, it's hard to put it into words, but we're inspired by just, being here, being part of life, man, celebrating it, man, while we're here. And especially now that things are opening back up.
Yeah.
We're social beings, man. We need to be around each other. We need to be standing with each other, screaming and spilling our drinks all over each other, and be there with the music wide open. We're all about that. So.
Oh, absolutely, man. You got it for sure. And we're definitely going to get into some album and some Tora Tora singles talks as well. Angel, how are we doing? Who's our next lucky fan?
Our next lucky fan is my rock and roll buddy, my fellow ball buster music columnist, Kim Sullivan.
Yeah, love Kim.
Yes, we do. I've taken a lot of pictures of Kim at rock shows, which is so awesome. Just to see rock shows, enjoy them, play loud music, even back at the hotel at 2, 3 a.m. and not having nobody complain because they know better. Yeah. You're just going to turn it up. Okay, Kim's question. How did you decide on the name Tora Tora?
We actually got this name off of Van Halen, Women and Children First. And there was a friend of ours, a girl we went to high school with, named Kelly Coffey. And she actually had put together a list. We had been rehearsing and stuff, and she had a list of names. And we were big Van Halen fans. And we tried the name out. And what happened was there was an event we went to, and all of our friends showed up, and they got in front of the stage, and they did like the Animal House chant. They started going, Tora, Tora, Tora. We were in the back, and we heard it, and we went, oh, my God, this is going to work, man. This is going to be cool. And we just flew with it. At the beginning, we weren't really sure what name we wanted to go with, but it just seemed like it fit us, and it felt comfortable, and it felt like we just kind of slipped right into it, and it just stayed with us after that first kind of outing.
Nice.
Well, and now my question is, one of the things that's really cool about Tora Tora is that it's all original members. I know people argue, debate, all that stuff. Yeah. How do you guys, how do you get along? How do you guys keep it together with still being together, basically?
It's been a long time. We can't believe that we've been together this long. It seems like a blink, man. It's been gone by quickly. But, man, I don't know. Everybody kind of gets along. We've had moments where we get after each other, especially when you're traveling on the road and you get kind of fried. We're like anybody. We're like family. They're the closest thing to family. I have one sister, and these guys in the band are the closest things I have to a brother. I think the one thing is we all kind of respect each other as far as if we need to step away. We've all kind of had moments where we need to step away. We're really family first oriented. So we've had moments where we said, hey, I got to deal with life and things that are going on. And I need to just step out for a minute. And everybody's, always been on board that way. I mean, I just talked to Patrick, 5 minutes before I jumped on here with you guys talking about what's coming up and going into the studio and everything. And we were talking about our schedules just with our kids and family and life and trying to do music and be creative and all that kind of stuff. We're like everybody else. It's a time management thing of being able to be focused on being there together. But the one awesome thing I can tell you about what's going on with us is we really enjoy being around each other. I mean, we're still telling the same stupid jokes from 20 years ago on each other and the same terrible bad stories, but we genuinely enjoy being around each other. And we know that there's something really cool about the four of us, what we individually do when it gets together. The four of us kind of forms that Tora Tora sound. And so to be and have the opportunity to go around and play music now so far, in the future than where we thought we would ever get to do it. We don't take that for granted now that we get to go out and play. And especially after COVID, that now when things are opening up, I think everybody kind of realized that things that are, that we took for granted and we don't take those things for granted, that we get to go spend time with each other. And, our children are getting older. So we said, hey, man, they're kind of independent. They're doing their own thing. Maybe we can jump out and go do some gigs together and go to places that we want to go and visit and the fans we want to see. And it's just been incredible, man. Since back around 2017 when we started writing the new records and all that stuff, it's just been so fun, man. We were just talking about it on the phone earlier about we just want to have a good time and get together and enjoy it. And we want to get with all you guys and have fun. So we're pretty lucky that way.
That's awesome.
I know I want to get to one more fan question before
absolutely
the second round. Next question is from Jeannie. Jeannie wants to know, Anthony, you're always so happy and so positive. What keeps you in that mode?
Well, I'm on a bunch of edibles right now.
Hey, been there, done that.
Ooh, I don't know. Brad Lee might be watching.
And, hey, by the way, bringing up Brad, man, please, speedy recovery. We're wishing you recovery. Yeah. Thinking about you, man. No, man, I think I'm happy just because I love doing music, man. Nothing makes me feel like this. We all, have other things going on and distractions and life and finances and health and all that. But music has always kind of been an escape for me. And it's just kind of taken me places that it's unbelievable. I can't believe that I get to do it and sing and go and see you guys. And the most incredible thing is seeing people sing your songs back to you. I mean, that blows me away all the time. But I'm happy because I don't know, man. I'm creating again. We're singing, we're playing. I still feel like I have stuff that I want to say. We love doing the songs that we put out and played for y'all. We're so proud of those songs. But we still enjoy being creative. And I don't know, man. We laugh about this all the time. When I go and do shows, I can't think of anything that makes me happier. Being with my family and everything, there's no comparison to that kind of stuff. But music is just incredible. It's just afforded me so many opportunities. It's introduced me to all you guys, all these crazy people that are around, and I owe that all to music. So I think I'm just happy, to be doing it, man, and to be getting to do it while we're all together, while we're here doing it, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Jay, please don't kill me.
No.
Ken has a friend, Will Mass. He's a huge fan of yours. Can you give him a shout out? Hello.
Hey, Will, what's happening? Hey, I'm catching your updates on social media, man. I saw you asking who's working out there. I'm excited, man. I know y'all are going to have a ball with M3. Have a great time, Will. Y'all be careful, man.
And this is why we love you, brother.
Oh.
No, absolutely, Angel. You speak up anytime you see something cool from the fans, man. Absolutely. So since we just got off the last question, talking about, music and how important music is and being your drive and what keeps you so happy, let's talk a little bit about Bastards on Beale, your most recent album that was put out a couple years back on Frontiers, right around the time that you were actually playing at M3. Yeah. So, let's backtrack a little bit because, of course, with the loss of 2020, you really couldn't tour on that album with those songs, really.
Yeah.
So let's just backtrack a little bit to that album, putting it out, and with the shows you're about to play, are you looking to tap into that new album as well?
Man, absolutely. Yeah, we had such a great time doing that. It was the first new record for us in many years, and we were so excited. We worked with a guy named Jeff Powell, he was actually an assistant engineer on Wild America. So he was there. We've known him. He's kind of like a family member to us. We grew up with him, and he was working at a Sam Phillips studio in Memphis. If you guys aren't familiar with Sam Phillips, man, he had something called Sun Records that found Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, Howlin' Wolf. And so he sold Sun to RCA, and he went on the same street in Memphis, right down the street it was an auto garage, and he bought it and he gutted it and he built the studio. And this was back in the 60s. And y'all, it's decorated exactly like 1960. When you walk in, it looks like he's fixing to walk in. It was the craziest thing, man. And it was so cool because a lot of my heroes, Robert Plant had recorded there, Bob Dylan recorded there. It's a list. You guys look up Sam Phillips recording. It's amazing. But we were so honored to go there. But we were limited on our budget. And on budget, I mean on two ways, on our finances and on our time, because I was coming in and out from Nashville. So we decided to go a different route. We decided to cut it really raw and cut it live. And y'all, it was the craziest experience. It was so cool, man. It was so fun. The band did a ton of pre-production. So they did a lot of rehearsals before I got there and tightened up all their parts. And then, of course, I came in and jumped in on the singing and putting the vocals together in the rehearsals. But Jeff just told us, he said, man, listen, I want you to relax. Let's go in. Let's just have fun. And he goes, I'm going to make you sound really good. And we went in the room where John, Keith, and Patrick were live in the room, and they put me in a vocal booth so I could see them, but I could have some separation in case I wanted to re-sing something. And it was awesome. We literally were looking at each other, and we counted off the first song on the record, which is Sons of Zebedee, and that is it. That take, we did about 2 or 3 takes of it, and we said, hey, man, it's a couple of clicks faster than we've been rehearsing it, but it just feels good because the energy was there. We were just freaking out. We were excited. And it was the most amazing experience. And Jeff just took great care of us, man. He was awesome. I will tell y'all something really funny that a lot of people don't know this. But while we were recording, we had set up a deadline, like a turn-in date for the record because we wanted it to come out for Monsters of Rock Cruise 19. Okay, we wanted to make sure that everybody on the boat heard it first. And we were thinking ahead. And so we had a certain date we had to turn everything in. It was at the end of 2018. And so anyway, I had decided to go cut vocals. And this singer, his name is William Bell. He was a really famous soul singer from Stax. He's like a legend. If y'all don't know who he is, look him up. His voice will just melt you in half. But anyway, he wanted the studio the days that I was coming to sing the record. And I was like, what am I going to do? This guy's an icon. I can't say anything. I'm a huge fan of his. So anyway, I just said, man, y'all figure it out. And so they said, well, you're going to sing in Nashville or we're going to set you up. And I said, no, I'm not singing in Nashville. I want to be in Memphis. I'm a singing record, down there. I want it to be a Memphis record. And so anyway, I said, well, let's figure something out. Stick me in a closet or whatever. Well, so y'all, the way the studio is set up, you walk in and there's the live room, the big one, and there's another one down the hall. And there's these set of steps that go up, and they're covered in like this red, thick, looking like 70s carpet that goes up. I mean, it's like hilarious. And the second floor was kind of like their distribution centers where they used to put all their physical product and stuff. So it's this big empty room, and it's got these crazy lights that change colors, like like you're in a disco or something. But anyway, this next floor is a set of steps, and when you go up, it's the secretary's desk is built in the wall. The general manager's office is right here. And to the right here, there's a bar. And it's decorated like the 60s, man. I'm not kidding. It's fully staffed, freaking kick-ass. And you can go in there and get a drink. Well, anyway, straight ahead, Sam Phillips' office. You can't take any pictures when you're doing the tour. They won't let you see his office. The door stays closed. No entry, okay? So the day that I come in to do vocals, I walk in and I'm going to church, man. I can hear the B3, the guy's playing his guitar and the drums, and the guy's singing. And I'm like in church. I'm like, dude, his voice is still incredible. Wow. They said, well, hey, we want to show you something. Come upstairs. And so I go up the first flight of stairs, and I look, nothing's going on. And I turn the next step, and I was like, okay, they're going to take me in the bar and tell me I'm not getting to sing today because this guy's here. And I was setting myself up. Well, when I turned the corner, I looked straight ahead, and it was Sam Phillips' office open, and my microphone was set up in the middle of his office.
Oh, wow.
I sang the entire Bastards of Bill record in Sam Phillips' office, man. It was so cool.
That's so rad.
We got the permission from the family. And when you walk in, if you look over to the right, his desk is sitting there and it's got a jukebox built in it where he had all his 45s that he tried to sell. He called, and he had the music playing, so they could tell the people. So that was set up, and the computer's sitting there. They got all the mic cords running there. So it's me and the producer, Jeff Powell, and Keith's with me, the guitar player. He's sitting there, and we're looking at this red shag carpet, these white leather chairs, and all the chairs have those stand-up 70s ashtrays sitting next. It looks like we're just going to have a throwdown and, stay up all night, smoke a carton of cigarettes. They're just sitting there. The cool thing about this singing was there was a TV, an old console TV sitting there that was on these tall legs, and there was a drawer pulled out, and it was Roy Orbison's 45 sitting on there.
Oh, wow.
Between every take, I turned around and looked, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm in Sam Phillips' office singing my new record. This is so inspiring. It was just so crazy. But we did the whole record. We sang for 2 days. I knocked out the 10 songs, and we did a bonus track, which I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but there's an instrumental on the record called Vertigo.
On which album?
On the Bastards of Bill.
Yeah.
So it's an instrumental, and everybody goes, why did y'all do an instrumental? Why didn't you sing? Well, they were singing, but it's on the bonus track that went to Japan, and it's an acoustic version of that song that we'd cut at the very end of the recording session. John and Keith and I went in the room live and cut it and sang it. And it was the first time I'd ever sang the song. So, I mean, you can tell it's just this kind of impromptu kind of jam on that lick. So for any of y'all that are out there that want to go kind of track it down, that is something that's a cool little outtake. But man, the overall experience was incredible. We went in, we were so proud of it. We were kind of nervous because we didn't know what it was going to sound like either. We hadn't recorded together in forever. So we were kind of thinking the same thing that all you guys were thinking, like, what's the new Tora Tora going to sound like? But we went in with a fresh slate, and we said we don't want to pull in any other old ideas or anything. We had brand new. And we literally took a piece of poster board like we did when we were teenagers, and we just stuck it on the wall in the jam room. And we wrote the freaking fake names of the songs on there. And we went through and we just said, all right, we're going to arrange all these things and put them together. And we took that chart to the studio and stuck it on the wall and just went through it, man. And it was killer. They did most of the basic tracks live, Patrick and John together, and Keith was doing a guitar. And then if we listened back and they were happy with the take, Keith would run in and double his guitar. So he'd use like a Fender on one take and then do like a Les Paul over the second take, kind of fatten it up. And so we were working really efficiently. And then I came back and sang, like I said, that next weekend. And then we just added some like background vocals and solos. But we wanted it to kind of sound like what you would hear if you heard us live. If you came to see those other records, we spent, a year and a half on Surprise Attack. We spent almost 2 years writing Wild America. We spent almost 2 years writing Revolution Day before it got shelved. And so they were really, super produced. And so this was a whole different experience for us to just kind of go in raw and see what it felt like. It was really, really cool experience, man.
That's awesome, dude. So as a second part to this question that I was going to ask, it also popped up as a fan question as well. So Angel, if you don't mind, I'm just going to include this as part of my question. So I'm going to virtually throw my arm here around Kim Sullivan. She's right here. Like, hi, Kim, come in for a second. So basically what she was asking, which was something I was going to say. So so yourself and the band, from what's been announced, are not going to continue with Frontiers for the next album. Is there anything that you can tell us about that decision? Along with, is there anything you can tell us about what you've got going for future music and what you'd be looking for in a record label? Yeah. So, man, we owe a huge hat tip to the Frontiers guys. They came along right at the right time. We had all kind of talked about doing new recordings, and it just seemed like the plan was lined up. It was like I said, we jumped on Monsters of Rock, the cruise back in 2017, and right after we got off that was when Frontiers contacted us.
And yeah, it was funny. They contacted us through social media, and we actually thought it was somebody that was just smoking some weed or something and wrote us a note. We were like, this isn't serious. You know, we kind of followed up with it, and we found out like, hey, yeah, we actually want to talk to these people. So I asked Keith and them, I said, hey, can we get a contact number on somebody? And I said, I'll just call and introduce myself. And I called, and they had one U.S. rep that was here from New Jersey. And I called the number, and the guy said, hey, man, I want to talk to you. I just moved. And I said, oh, okay, well, where'd you move to? And he said, I moved to Nashville. And I said, that's really crazy. I live in Nashville. And I said, what part of town are you in? I'll come buy you a cup of coffee and talk to you. It was freaking one exit from my house.
Where was he? Green Hills?
It was out in Brentwood. But,
all right.
But it was so funny. I literally drove down one exit and sat down with them and talked to him about the label. I had known about Frontiers because we had a friend, Jimmy Jameson, that sang in Survivor for a long time.
Yeah.
He sang on all the Tora Tora records. He sang backups on the Surprise Attack records, Wild America, all that. If he was in town, he would come in and do some singing. And so he had done some solo work with Frontiers years back. So I was familiar with the name. But we just talked when I met Nick, the guy from Frontiers. We talked, and he just told me that they wanted to give us an opportunity to reach out to the fans and give us a platform, just kind of like you guys are doing with y'all show. And it just seemed like it was awesome. It was no pressure, and they have this built-in audience and a way for us to get up and for people. So it was a great experience. We had a really good time with them. I think what was going on with us kind of parting ways with them was when the COVID thing hit. We kind of weren't sure. We were kind of in a mode like everybody else, that kind of setting timelines up and all that kind of stuff. And we all kind of decided to step back for a minute. And so we talked to the company and everything. Everybody kind of stepped away and wanted to deal with some family things that were going on. And we weren't sure how we were going to proceed, like as far as the band, like nothing huge when we're breaking up or anything, but just we weren't sure how we were going to approach moving forward. And I think everybody kind of had that feel in their mind. And but we ended on really great terms with them. We just said, hey, man, we're going to take a time out and pause. We're not sure what's going to happen with each member of the band and what's going to happen with our families and all that kind of stuff. And they were very cool about it. And, they said to reach back out to them or whatever. I mean, I think we're in a situation where we said, that would be fine. But I think we're just moving forward on our own. We weren't sure as far as like putting a whole project together, how we would approach that, especially during the COVID time. We weren't sure how we were going to all get together. But right now, kind of how we're looking at it is we went in the studio back in May, which I'm happy to report to y'all went awesome. We recorded 12 new drum tracks and rhythm tracks. We're in the process this week. I'm going to be in Memphis recording some vocals for about 4 or 5 of those songs. We're kind of cruising along at our own pace. And this is funny.
Yeah.
We approached this recording session and everything a little bit different than we did the Bastards of Bill. We wanted to give John some time with the drums. When we went in before, we kind of did a Zeppelin setup where it was kind of live in the room with limited mics and stuff, and room sound going, This time we mic'd everything up, and he wanted to switch snares and have a little bit more freedom, creative freedom, putting his drum tracks down. And honestly, that space that you're in the studio, that's when you need it most is for our drummers. We can do our tracks and stuff in our box or whatever. So really it's about a destination kind of thing for us. We're recording at a place called Young Avenue Sound down in Memphis. It's a friend of my family's, and we had talked to them for a couple of years. They had told me about their studio and said, come see it. It's awesome. And so we decided just to give it a shot, go in there and try something different. And I think John had a ball. He was really fired up and got to take his time. When he went in, we did I think we had 5 or 6 days where he could go in and just kind of screw around and mess around. And so I'm headed down there this weekend. And I think we're going to just let out some songs, 1 or 2 at a time, just kind of get it out and then maybe press up some vinyl or something. But we're kind of approaching it, going out on our own way and just kind of
nice.
Enjoying creating. We've got some really, really cool songs, man. I know everybody says this. Whenever it's your newest song, the latest one you've written is the one you're in love with or whatever, but We're really excited about it. And we, like I was saying earlier, when somebody said what inspired you, we went back to all those shows we were doing in 2019. We went all the way across the country from Maine all the way out to the Strip in LA and played, it was so funny to be back out in LA, man. We hadn't been there in like 20 years. And we went out and played at the Whiskey, and we walked in and said, oh my God, we were in here playing when we were little kids, And I remember when I walked in there, I remember looking out in the audience, and Eric Carr was in the audience one night when we played. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, man, it's another Kiss moment. But we couldn't believe it. We looked around, and I saw all these people that we'd kind of been, dreaming about. We would go out there in the Strip at that time. Y'all remember at the end of the 80s was crazy.
I was there.
And it was just so fun. And to go back and visit and it'd be the four of us again, kind of coming back in. We had done a couple of dates, and I think the night before we had been in like Fresno or something. And so we drove in and we pulled in, and we were thinking about, we had stayed out there, in some like in temporary housing or temporary apartments for our promotion days. And we were looking at the streets going, I remember walking down the street to go get a 6-pack of beer and walking and wandering around in this neighborhood. We were looking at the places that we, had visited, and A&M always kept us really close. They tried to keep an eye on us when we were out there. And we had some incredible times out there. I mean, it was so fun. So it brought back a lot of great memories. And, but all those tour dates we thought about, and they've inspired us for this new music, man. I think you guys are really into this new stuff.
That's awesome for sure. So Metal Summoners, Tora Tora fans, you heard it right here. There is new Tora Tora music that is coming your way. So stay tuned to us. Stay tuned to Anthony, and you guys will be the first ones to dive right into that new music. Will Mass, that means you. I know you're especially going to be excited about that. So fans, continue with your questions, continue with your comments coming in, because Angel's second segment is coming up next. But Bobby Dreyer, let's bring you back in, brother.
So, you talked about the incredible edibles.
Hey, man, save me one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're from Colorado. You got to watch this.
Yes, man. Great touring.
But we look. The thing about the Metal Summit, we're game for everything. But I'm going to go back to Nashville.
Okay.
So you're down there. Everybody moved out. I'm good friends with Slaughter and everybody, when he was doing, what was it, scrap metal, when they were playing over at the Wild Horse.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I remember those.
All those days back then. How is it now? I mean, you guys just had a major bombing in Nashville.
Yeah. It feels really good. Things are opening up. It got, pretty scary, man.
And why don't you talk about that too? The bombing right there. I mean, how did that affect you?
Man, it was unbelievable, man. It was like what I was saying earlier. We were already in the middle of COVID and all that stuff. And then this crazy thing happens on Christmas morning, which we couldn't believe. The city, though, is coming back. We had some issues. We had a couple of false starts, I guess is what we could say. The city started opening up, and then we did have some protests where some people got, loose in some of those venues downtown, and they pulled the equipment outside, and so people had to go back and renovate on top of being closed for COVID and all that. But it feels good now because life is starting to come back. People are starting to play again. I had a lot of my friends. I was lucky because my teaching job and everything, I was online, so I kept kind of cruising. We were very blessed. Our gigs were kind of going, but I had friends of mine that had been playing forever, and they said, man, I have never done anything else except play, and I don't know what to do now. It was a scary time, but I'm very hopeful, man. All the vaccines are out. People, whether you go get it or not, the option's there for you, but it feels like people are getting active again. The scene feels great, and I was the same way when you were talking a second ago about Mark Slaughter, and I saw the Cinderella guys. I went to like a booking agency party.
I'm from Philly, so I'm very close with Kiefer and all those guys.
Couldn't believe it. We met Eric Brittingham on our first record. They came through Memphis, and our record company set it up where we could go meet him at his hotel and talk to him and play him some of the record and all that. So he's been on our radar and friends with him for a while.
That's great.
They're super down to earth, super talented dudes, way talented, and they're just so humble. That's about all these guys that are here. I think was the one thing about the rock and roll residency that I mentioned before, the community that they created. You never knew who was going to jump up on stage, and the person would get up there and just blow your freaking head in half. And then they'd walk up to you and be the most down to earth person in the world. And I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. But the rock and roll scene in Nashville is alive and well. There's so many people here. There's lots of up and coming bands that are here that are kind of carrying the torch. The scene is active. It reminds me a lot of Memphis. It's a really eclectic city. It's known for country music and Christian music. The rock scene is freaking kicking ass. There's a bunch of great music and musicians.
Yeah, I did a lot of work down there. I in the 80s, and these guys can attest. I was good friends with, I still am, with Doug Pinnick and everything, but I did a lot of work with Keggy, and I was involved in the Christian music circuit with Amy and everything else, and Whiteheart and all those guys.
Yeah.
Then metal came in and destroyed my life.
Yeah.
But how did that affect you? I mean, look, you're in the middle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah, man. I got inspired, I guess, and I sang at church. Growing up, my parents, if the doors were open, we were there. So Sundays and Wednesdays and all that stuff, and they sang in church. My mom is still singing at church. They're living down there. They're actually going to the church they got married in 53 years ago. Wow, it's incredible.
It's very cool.
They moved around all over the world raising us, and they lived here in Nashville. And about, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago, they moved back. And my grandmother was in not good health, and they took her home to be at her home place. And they said, we're going to stay. We feel like we can contribute to the community down here. And we're very proud. And, man, my mom is like everybody else says about their mom. She's my light, man. She's the reason I love music. She listened to Ray Charles when I was in the womb. I loved it, man. Some Ray Charles and stuff. And she loves singing, man. She's still playing. They have a thing in her hometown where it's all the older musicians get together like twice a month, and they'll have 70 or 100 people show up.
Wow.
They do this jam, man. And I was like, you're doing more gigs than me. What's going on, man? It was really funny. But she's a inspiration, man. But being here in the Bible Belt, it's tricky. And I think there was an element of, I kind of opened my parents' eyes to that, man. Being like growing up Southern Baptist and walking in, I left high school in senior year. I walked in to tell them that I was going to take off with a rock and roll band. Kind of an interesting conversation. But the thing I had going for me was they were musically inclined. My mom and her side of the family were all those kind of porch pickers I mentioned earlier. And so they saw that in me, that I was passionate about it and I wanted to do it. And I was scared I was going to miss something. I told them, I said, man, I just don't want to feel like I'm going to wake up one day and say, I wish I had done this. And they supported me, man. And they told me years later, they said, we were scared if we didn't support you that we'd never see you again because you were so excited about going and doing this and running off. And but the Bible Belt was tricky. And also, I think it changed their perspectives on people. I think, number one, when they realized it was something serious, when we started talking to record companies, we had these really great producers and stuff. And the guy, John Fry, that ran the studio, had sat down with them and said, hey, this is what we're fixing to do as far as a business plan, trying to help them get introduced in the industry. But, they had preconceived notions about people. They were kind of judgmental and all that kind of stuff. And I think the musician kind of helped them understand that these, preconceived ideas about people and who they were and how they were, it changed and it morphed over the years as I met, because music, man, changes everything. It's colorblind. it brings people together. It's when people say it's a universal language, it transcends everything, man. It's about people being together because you love music, and I think that helped my family grow. To just be totally honest with y'all, I think there was some ignorance and things about the things that they thought about the industry and musicians in general. And I don't know, it was kind of cool. It was cool to kind of see my parents kind of get adjusted to it, and they traveled. They came to some shows with us. They flew out to LA to see us play at the Palladium. We played a real 10-year anniversary party. And when I walked in, the first door that I looked in, it said Bon Jovi. And the next one that I went to said Van Halen. And then we kept walking, and we were going, oh my God, we're in the building with these people, and they're going to play songs tonight at this Rip magazine party. You know, we couldn't believe it. And my parents were out in the audience, you know, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, oh my God, this is like incredible. What's going on, you know? So I think they saw that there was potential, you know, that we were there. And I don't know, it was amazing. It was such a cool trip. But yeah, there's definitely some challenges being from the South and being in the Belt. You get you know, people get they stand their ground on their beliefs and stuff pretty hard. And, you know, you get judged sometimes, and that's just part of it. We're all about love, man, and people being together and partying and having a good time. And I think that was the one thing about the culture that we created as a band. When we first started, we had this warehouse. I don't know if y'all have ever heard these stories before, but our guitar.
Well, I've been to Connections in Nashville. Oh wait, that was the Drag Bar years ago. Sorry.
Yeah. Our guitar player, he was in the glue business, and he had this warehouse space that had these 55-gallon drums, these empty drums that he would store in there. So we asked him if we could rehearse in there, and it was right in the center of town in Memphis. It was right next to the Coliseum where all the concerts happen.
Yeah.
And so we went in and we pushed all those barrels to one end of the warehouse. We put plywood on the top, and we drug black garbage bags off the front, and we built a huge stage. And then we stuck a gigantic PA in there, and we started throwing these parties. And every once in a while, we made it kind of an event. And it got so big that DJ that I was talking about earlier, he would announce it on the radio. He'd go, don't forget to go to the warehouse. He'd be like, it was going over like 4 states. So all these people would show up. We couldn't fit the people in there. They would go in the parking lot and throw Frisbees, order pizzas. We were inside blowing the freaking roof off the place, partying. Nobody got hurt. We never were even thinking about liability or insurance or anything. We were in there just blowing out. Like, it was a place where underage kids could come see live music. And we hired football players. We gave them all the beer they could drink. They ran the door and were security. So if anybody got in a fight, we'd say, just throw them out. There was a sand pile outside, and they would say, take them to the sand pile and make sure nobody gets hurt. And that's what they did. Well, we kind of created this culture where anybody was welcome. You came there to kind of forget whatever it was you want to forget about or be a part of whatever it is. Yeah. And we've carried that with us, man, all the way through all this time that we've been together. It's about bringing people together and about the love of music. So that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to do when we come see y'all in these cities when we're on tour.
Absolutely. That's
great.
That's awesome, man. That's so
Thanks,
good.
Anthony.
You know, that's what we're all about too. You know, we're all about the love. We're all about that positive stuff. You know, we're not afraid to tackle the stuff that we need to tackle, but we are all about positivity and love and getting everything out there. So let's bring in the loviest person that we know.
That would be
the man that loves the. Hold on a second there, Bobby Catane. You can hold on a little bit. So we're going to bring in Angel. The ladies love their Angel. And come down from heaven for a little bit, buddy, and tell us what the fans have to say.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. I got to fly through the clouds.
Oh, yeah, man. Here we go.
Okay. I see Candy Burton. She wants to know, what's the first concert that you saw?
Oh, man, this is going to blow y'all's mind. I can't even believe I'm fixing to say this. It was Mickey Yelly, the guy that was from the Urban Cowboy. Do y'all remember this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is weird. I know this sounds crazy, but he came to Greenwood, Mississippi. That's where I was from. And my dad worked for the JCs, I think is what it was. And he had to do security. And he took me in to see that. And I just couldn't believe it, man. The music came on. This dude was like hot as a pistol at the time. The place was packed. They knew every word to his song, and I couldn't believe it. It was pretty crazy. Rock shows and stuff. I guess probably. I'm trying to think of the first really good one. I think the one that had the biggest impression on me. I went to see AC/DC in the Mid-South Coliseum. It was probably the loudest concert I've ever been to. And it was so loud, the ceiling tiles were coming out of the ceiling. I was sitting in the top, and the roof started just these little tiles floating down.
Anthony, is that with Bond?
No, that was later.
That was Brian.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to think, man. I saw quite a few, and Keith and them saw every concert that came through. That Coliseum, we went there during the Bastards of Bill promotions. We did some promotion videos out front, and they sat there and talked about their parents dropping them off and them going in, and they saw everybody from Van Halen. I think the highlight for us was playing in that Coliseum. We got to walk out on the stage where we had seen all of our heroes. It was in our hometown.
Hey, real quick, who was the band you opened up for that just made you go, no effing way?
God, man, probably Kicks that I said earlier. They were our first kind of big outing. We did some shows with King's X. They were killer.
Oh, I love Doug. My buddy.
I think one of our favorite tours was we went out with Dangerous Toys and LA Guns.
Wow.
It was like an 8-week, it was a 2.5 months or something run with them. And that
you still have a liver?
Yes. We had such a good time, man. We kind of clicked with the Dangerous Toys guys because we had the Southern thing going. And then the LA Guns guys were just so cool to us, man. We started out in like Dayton, Ohio, I think was the first date. And they had a call down in the bar, the hotel bar. And so we were like, man, they're probably fixing to lay the law down, man. We're a bunch of idiots, whatever it is. And the tour manager had come by and said, all right, you got to go downstairs. And we walked in, and they were already in there, and they all just stood up and said, get ready. You're fixing to have the greatest freaking 8 weeks of your life, man. We're fixing to have a ball. And it was cool because we did like these theaters. It was like 2,000 seat, really beautiful. We would walk in the venue and go, what in the world are we doing here? This place is amazing. It was surreal. It was the way the rooms looked and the camaraderie, man. We were riding each other's buses. We finally got banned from being around each other. They were trying to do head counts at the end of the night. And we'd lose people. And, it was like the bus driver was sitting there going, I got to drive, 12 hours. What the hell? Who are we missing? And they would be like, they left on the Dangerous Toys bus, or something. It was so fun. That was really fun. And then, man, we did a tour with Bonham and the Cult. And it was on the Sonic Temple record. And, man,
wow.
It was incredible every night. That Ian, the lead singer, he was great. They just were. That's when like Sweet Soul Sister and all those songs.
Yeah, Sweet Soul Sister.
Wow, what a great tour.
Fire Woman, dude. I love the Cult.
And Bonham just came out at that time. So that was right about 90.
Yeah, that singer, man, for them, for Bonham's band, I can't remember his name right now, but he was freaking killer. He was awesome, man. They do a cover of Black Dog, and he would sing. Good, man. It was so good. We watched them every night. We would want to stay, and before we took off, we wanted to see the show every night. So they were a lot of fun. But man, we played so many festivals and tours. I mean, we did really random one-off festival things where it would be a whole stack of bands. Like,
okay, let's throw this out. The shittiest show you ever did that you just went, what the fuck?
We played a place one time on Rack, and this is probably terrible for me to say it, but I'm just going to throw it out there. The booking agent must have had some kind of routing thing to do, and they sent us this place, and it was a converted 7-Eleven. That was a, and this was when we were first starting, man. And we got there. It was a freaking punk club. Okay, the guy that met us when we were coming off the bus had like spiked green hair. It was about 3 feet long. He handed me a flyer, and it was a picture, a hand-drawn picture of a bull sitting on a commode, and it had our name on it, Tora Tora, and he handed me the flyer. And I went, this guy's going to fucking kill us, man. What is going on? Are we at the right place? And we went in. I mean, we were contracted, and we said, you know what? We're just going to fucking go in and do it, man. Whether we get killed or not, let's just walk in here and we're going to play like our fucking house. Let's go in. And we did it. We went in and we
like the good old boys in
yes,
the First Brothers.
But everybody was standing there like this, and we tried and we went crazy and we did, cranked our shit right up. But man, we literally knocked the muffler off the bus leaving that place. We couldn't get out of there. I'm not.
Oh man,
it was
hilarious.
It was. Nothing happened. They were just like, "You're in the wrong place, man. Like I don't know how to put you in this. We don't like you, and we don't want you here." It was hard. It was hard. But listen, we went out to win, man. We were like, it was a challenge. We said, let's go in here and see if we can just get one fan. Let's see if we can get one person.
Absolutely, for sure.
Well,
I'm gonna kick it back. I'm gonna kick it back up to Angel. But real quick, when you were talking about Bonham, Anthony, was that? Are you talking about when Daniel McMaster was singing for them?
That sounds right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 92.
92.
Yeah.
Right on, dude. Awesome. Angel, take it away, brother.
Well, definitely got a question from your biggest fan, Will Mass. Thank you for joining us, Will. Welcome. He wants to know, who do you personally draw musical influences from?
Oh man, gosh, man, there's a lot. I mean, I would get inspired by everything, man. I listen to a lot of soul music. I like listening to Al Green and Otis Redding and Etta James. She's probably one of the. I always wanted to sing like her. I can't do it. I really want to, and I try, but she was probably one. I spent a lot of late nights listening to her. Having a few cocktails and checking out her vibe. But man, rock wise, I'm inspired by so many people that I just can't. Even like Jason, when we were laughing a minute ago about Dangerous Toys, his voice is still great, man. We played in Rocklanta with him. Brad Lee invited us down to do that function he had, that event. And man, Jason's voice, man, is still so great. I like anything, man, that's got some feeling in it. I'm still inspired a lot by. I still listen to Robert Plant stuff. I love Janis Joplin. She was one of my favorites always. I loved her. I listened to a lot of females. I don't know why I got drawn to that. Maybe it was because my mom and my aunt sang all the time, but I kind of leaned that direction. I listened to a lot of female stuff. Guys, singers. I like that dude from Rival Sons. I don't know. Y'all ever listen to him?
Yeah. And Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah. Those guys are good. There's a.
What about what is it? Kentucky Headhunters guys. Black Cherry.
Yeah. I've seen those guys a little bit. But yeah, man, I get inspiration from a lot of different places. My son, they turn me on to a lot of music. It's funny. They try to keep me updated on different people and stuff.
Okay, Anthony, real quick. Guilty Pleasure. What is that song that you go, shit, I don't hope nobody ever hears me listen to this in the car?
Oh, God. I'll probably listen to I was really a kind of a pop guy before I got with Keith and them. So I would have probably been listening to stuff like on Top 40 Radio.
No, but I mean today, if somebody was to drive by you and you were like, you had the windows down and you're like, shit.
I listen to country, old classic outlaw stuff, Willie Nelson. I listen to a lot of his stuff. I like him as an artist. Man, I don't know. Maybe it might have been somebody like a Huey Lewis or something. Maybe I would listen to that.
Any of the new people who, turned you on?
Yeah, Marcus King. I like that little guy. He's freaking badass. I really like him. My son turned me onto this group called the Lemon Twigs. You guys ever heard of them?
No.
No.
They're badass. Listen, I went pre-COVID. My son asked me, it was the only time he's ever asked me to go to a show. He said, will you go to this concert with me? And I said, yeah, I want to go. And it was a place called the Basement East. And a quick personal plug, Tora Tora is playing the Basement East in Nashville July 9th. Friday, July 9th. We're going to play there.
Woo! I'll be there for them.
Yes, man. Come on in there. So anyway, he said, let's go see this band. I had never listened to him. I didn't know who it was. I was like, yeah, man, let's go. You've never asked me to go for it. We went in, man. I'm not kidding. I walked in, and this guy got on stage. He walked in, and he had like his sleeves cut out of his shirt. He had his shades on. He was big around. He looked like a twig. He was tiny. He was about this big. Walked out, had on skin tight pants and some boots. And man, I'm not kidding. They hit the first note, and my freaking jaw hit the floor. And for an hour, I stood there in a trance. I just went, "Oh my God, they're fucking kick ass, man! Who is this?" I literally came home and woke my wife up out of a dead sleep and said, "I have not been inspired by a band in the last time that I can remember," and they did it. It was
what's the name of this band again?
They're from Long Island, I think. It's two brothers, and man, I think like
hey, grab them. See, maybe get them as a guest. That'd be really cool.
I think that Todd Rundgren worked on their record or something. I mean, it was something crazy. It was kind of like Beatlesy, kind of a little bit of Queenie because they did harmonies. They had a badass drummer. I think he was from like South America or something, and then the bass player was freaking 6 feet tall, and he was just on the bass. They just kicked your ass, man. When you walked out, that was freaking awesome. It was so good. So they're good. I like them. They also turned me on to King Gizzard. My son's been listening to a lot of those records, so
Nice.
they try to keep me updated. I fall back into my habits of I love the Stack stuff. I love the Otis Redding stuff, the soul singers and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of float around in there a lot. That kind of keeps me inspired. A couple of years back, we went and did a show in Memphis. It was a private party. It was on a rooftop, and it was us and the Barkays. And I couldn't believe it, man. I don't know who the Barkays are. You need to look them up.
Yeah.
And I got to jump on stage with them and sing sitting on the dock of the bay. And it's like James Alexander, he's the last living member of the Barkays that was part of Otis Band. And he was just the most humble, nice dude. And I couldn't believe I got to get up with him. I mean, I was like, there's a video floating around, and I stopped everybody and say, I want y'all to know I'm freaking the hell out because I'm up here with them right now. They sounded so awesome. It was so good.
Oh, right on. That's super duper.
Hey, Anthony, before we go, and Jay, before we jump in, so we'll be at Rockin' Pod. So it'll be me, Angel, and Jay. We'll be down there. You need to hang out with us at the hotel and everybody over there.
Man, I'm coming. You guys, we're going to be there. Tora will be there on August the 7th, Saturday.
We're going to have a great time. Chris is amazing, so we're going to have a blast.
Well, we gotta take a second to whore out Anthony live real quick as well, because at Rockin' Pod with BLE, with this guy working that show, working the stage, we are gonna have Every Mother's Nightmare, we're gonna have Roxy Blue, we're gonna have Tora Tora, we're gonna have Native Sons. So Rockin' Pod is gonna have a live concert with members of with guests of Rockin' Pod, including Anthony Corder. So anybody who's coming down to Nashville for Rockin' Pod, sign up, get your tickets for that show because it's definitely going to be a blast. But let me kick it back up to Angel for the next questions for the fans.
Yeah, speaking of Nashville, this question is from Kim Sullivan. What's your favorite place to hang out in Nashville and listen to live music?
Man, I would probably say the Basement East is a good venue. The Mercy Lounge is where the Rock and Roll Residency has done stuff. They also, the guys from that band also do the Talisman. That's all that.
We love those guys.
So I just back in the end of April, middle of May, somewhere right in there, I got to see them do their acoustic set. It was when we were kind of in safety mode, but we could sit at the table and we got to see everybody. You got to hug everybody and talk. But they were incredible. We saw them there. Man, yeah, it depends on what kind of mood you're in. Some of this stuff gets kind of touristy and it's kind of weird. But for shows and stuff, I spent a lot of time around. When I first moved up here, I was part of the RCA label group. So I worked at the record labels in artist development and the marketing. So I went to all the little hole in the walls, and it depended on what you wanted to go see, what you wanted to hear. And but yeah, those couple of venues that the Exit Inn, that was always a good place. I went to see a lot of bands.
It's closed now, isn't it?
They said that it was going to close. I think people have saved it. Thank goodness. I think it's still.
And I know Third and Lindsley. I go see Brett Mason a lot. So Brett up there,
Third and Lindsley,
hell of a guitar player.
Yeah, they have a lot of great. That's another great showcase place. The venue's cool. The stage, the way it's set up and everything in that room is really cool.
Roberts.
Yeah, those are down on the Broadway. Those are kind of fun, and I
love Broadway.
Oh yeah, they get crazy down there, man. It gets kind of nutty, and they got a lot of rooftops and stuff now that have opened. A lot of people went down there and opened rooftop bars and stuff like that. So it just whoever's writing, send me a personal message on our Facebook or our social media or something when you're coming, and I'll try to think of.
Or hang out with the three of us. Come on, we'll bring Anthony out. It'll be a hell of a party.
That's true, man.
Bobby's got edibles.
We'll definitely make it a party for sure. Angel, who do we have next, my good dude?
Next question. I will ask the next question. You always said that you have your whole life to make your first album. When you went in to make the second record, how was the experience? Did you have any pressure? Because they always talked about the sophomore jinx back then. So did you, like I said, feel any amount of pressure from record label to crank out that other hit album? What was that experience?
Man, it was really crazy. We were actually, you're right about you have your whole life to write the first one. And we spent a lot of time on that first record writing, like I said, but we also, man, we wrote a lot of songs for that second record. We were kind of writing while we were touring. So it was a different experience for us. The pressure from the record label and stuff you're asking about, I think we had pressure on ourselves. I think we you're always kind of your own worst critic, man, from a creative standpoint. There was places that we wanted to go, things that we wanted to try different. There was definitely a difference between the first record and the second record. People talk about it, whether it's good or bad, depending on who you're asking. But I think that we grew up a lot. Like we gained more confidence in ourselves. We kind of got used to the whole experience, man, the recording experience, the being on the road, actually looking at it as, hey, man, this is actually a job. This is work that we're coming in here to do. We're having a great time and getting paid to do it. I remember looking at Keith. We would say that to each other. Like, we get paid to do this. This is nuts. We're in here freaking out. But that second record, there was definitely some pressure. But we, as individual players and stuff, had grown so much, man. Like Patrick and John, the drummer and the bass player, man, they got tight as all get out, man, because we were playing, I think on some of our stretches, we would play 11 nights in a row and then have a day off and then go right back into it. So we kind of got really confident in it, each one of us in our abilities and stuff. And we also learned some lessons on that first record, man. I sang the highest notes I could sing. I had never been in a studio before. And I was in there and I was like, oh my God, I can hear a freaking fly sneeze in here. This is so cool. And so my voice, man, was limitless, I felt like. But then I realized I have to sing those songs every night. And when you start doing that, you kind of start wearing yourself out. And so I got a little more selective on the second record. I started thinking about it. I said, man, I'm going to be have a little more strategy to when I'm using these, high range things and everything. I don't think it affected my style as much. I think I just got a little more mature, in thinking about it. But from a songwriting standpoint, I think we moved leaps and bounds away. And I think it was because of the experience. It was being on the road. That's why we named it Wild America. We had never traveled on Surprise Attack. We had never been outside of Memphis. We didn't know anything about the world or what was going on. And as soon as we got out of there, we didn't want to go home. We called the record company and said, please don't send us back. Leave us out here. We don't want to go back to Memphis. We'll just keep working. And anyway, we got inspired by everybody. All the experiences that we saw, our eyes were big around as saucers. We were going around to every new city. And we were doing what everybody else was doing. We were all college age. We just kept waking up in a different city every morning. So y'all know what it was and how we were feeling and everything. So we were excited. And but the second record was really a cool experience. We had a guy named John Hampton that was out of Memphis. He was an incredible drummer, but he was also he and Joe Hardy both were two of the smartest people we'd ever met. They were really into educating themselves about technology and about the recording techniques. So we got to do a lot of creative ideas and stuff in there. Like the song "As Time Goes By" that's on the record, it came about because John brought a keyboard to our rehearsal room one day. We had this old '70s jingle studio that was about a block from Arden. It was kind of dilapidated. It was kind of probably should have been nice or something, but we were in there as a rehearsal room, and we used to go over to Arden, and we would run in and get their microphones and their cords, and we'd go, "Hey man, we're at a rehearsal. We'll be right back." And we would go and mic all of our shit up, and that's where we were cutting demos on a little 4-track, 8-track Tascam. You know, y'all would probably laugh about all that now, technology-wise, but we had it set up over there. But John just came in with a keyboard, you know, one day, and we started working on that little riff on the piano, and the chords were like inverted and stuff on the keyboard to the guitar that we were doing things we would have probably creatively would have never thought of, you know. And but there's no keyboards on it really. I mean, I think there might be like a little B3 pad or something, but it wasn't a keyboard song. So we love that, and we also wrote with some killer people, man. The second record we worked with Taylor Rhodes, who had written and recorded with Kix. He did Amnesia and Faith Healer. He wrote both of those singles with us.
Wow.
He was a badass. He was here in Nashville, and we came up, and you know, it was funny, man. The first trip up, we stayed over by Vanderbilt by the college at like a Holiday Inn, and we were in town, and we went out. We went to the Exit Inn that we were laughing about earlier.
How cheap they wouldn't give you the Lowe's across the street.
Yeah. But no, we were there, and we went out and we partied. Yeah. So the next time we came to town, they wouldn't even let us stay in town. They put us out on the interstate somewhere, and they said, "You're going to work. We're not going to go hang out at the Exit Inn all night." You know. But Taylor was super cool. He wrote a bunch of demos with us. We probably wrote 4 or 5 songs with him. And then also somebody that I'm so proud that we got to work with was Stan Lynch. He was the drummer.
Great guy.
Makers, man. And A&M set us up with him. At the time when we first met him, he was out in L.A. And we had never done a lot of co-writing. I mean, we did a little bit on the first record. And when I say co-writing, I mean people outside the band. We kind of had a core group of people like Thomas Howard and some other guys that kind of were our buddies that wrote on songs with us. But as far as external people, we didn't do it. But man, when we met Stan, it was the most awesome thing, man. We went into his house. He said, "What are y'all listening to?" We were kind of just, you know, talking or whatever. And he just put on some Jimi Hendrix, and we just laid in the floor and we started talking, and we were talking about songs and music and what inspired us and all that. And the next
edibles.
Yeah, there was other, but we were just talking to him, and we ended up writing "Nowhere to Go But Down" and "Dead Man's Hand," which are 2 of my favorite songs that we do. I still do it every time we play a show. We do "Nowhere to Go But Down." It's one of the songs I'm most proud of, and we still talk to Stan to this day. We still send him emails. We'll send him when we're at a rehearsal running a song. We're like, "Man, we still love this fucking song, man. Thank you for writing it with us." So we worked on that record with him and Taylor. And then also on the Revolution Day recordings, we did "Shelter from the Rain" with Taylor, and we did "Time in the Tide" and "Rescue Me" with Stan. So we had a lot of really productive experiences with them working and writing. And we're just so happy that we had the opportunity. They were so talented. And they taught us about the craft, you know, of writing. I think that was something when y'all were asking about the difference between the first record and the second record is we had a different approach, man. We kind of felt like we had a little more confidence in our abilities as songwriters and stuff. So that helped.
Nice. That's really awesome. Fans, just to give you guys a heads up, Metal Summoners, you know how much we love you. It is, however, last call for alcohol, guys. Get those final questions and comments into the feed. So when I kick it to Angel for that final segment, we can make sure that all of your questions get answered by Anthony on this episode. So again, guys, fans, last call for alcohol when it comes to questions. So Anthony, a fun kind of question that I kind of want to kick it to you when it comes to talking about the very first album is I kind of want to highlight the song "Life's a Bitch," because the thing I think is so fun about that song is not only is it great, I've seen you open the show with it that I think is absolutely awesome. It's your first album. You guys are practically children. What was going on at the time that you would write a song like that to kick off your first album?
I think we had some disgruntled affairs going on. But that actually went on the first EP I don't know if anybody's ever talked to y'all about it, but we did a little 5-song EP.
I know the 5-song EP. I don't have it, but I've heard it, like a physical copy.
It's pretty raw, and that was one of the first songs that we wrote, man. We kind of had a theme going. We had a song on there called Wasted Love. We had one that was Love's a Bitch. We were going through some turbulent times with the females. And but
right. Sorry, yeah. Love's a bitch, not life's a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, Love's a Bitch. So but yeah, off of that EP, actually it was the record label actually was very excited about it. It had done really well on the local station I was talking about. We our breakout song was Phantom Rider, of course, that I was telling you about, but Love's a Bitch, and that EP had introduced us to the market in Memphis. And man, Keith was pretty savvy, our guitar player. He went around and went to, back in the day when record stores existed, he went around to the record stores and said, could we do our cassettes at your cash register on consignment? And so we had our records out in the stores so we could tell people to say, hey, man, go down to the local record store and our stuff's sitting in there. We'd love for you to get a copy of it. And we did a limited pressing of it. But the Love's a Bitch, man, we opened with that for a long time. That was a opener. It just had a lot of energy. Keith, like I said, was always kind of a riff master. He loved Randy Rhoads. So that Wasted Love song and Love's a Bitch, that was kind of in his first batch of things that we thought were acceptable. We had written a bunch of really shitty songs before that, a bunch of bad songs. And we kind of worked our way into that one. And it just kind of took off with the audience. They liked it and they requested it on the radio. And so we ended up just taking it with us when we went into make the Surprise Attack record. So it was we did like 4 songs to shop to the major labels, and it was Love's a Bitch, Riverside Drive. There was a song called Dancing with a Gypsy that went on the Bill and Ted's Excellent Venture record.
Yep.
Yeah. It was in the movie for a second. So that was part of the first 4 that we had recorded at Ardent. And yeah, Love's a Bitch, man. It still stays with us. It still resonates. It still has.
Yes.
Yep.
You guys were getting us ready for the real world when you guys came out with
Absolutely.
that song.
Love
Love is a bitch.
Love's a Bitch, and then you had Love's a Bitch. You had Guilty.
Yeah.
28 Days. I mean, you guys definitely came out firing on all cylinders. So Surprise Attack it's a pretty apropos title for your first record, because you guys really kind of burst out there with some serious aggression for that time.
Man, yeah. And the album cover got a lot of attention. That artwork that was on there.
Which one?
For Surprise Attack.
Yeah.
The Bomber Girl.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but there were some promotional items that went out, some pins, and when you turned it upside down, the girl's towel falls off, so you can see her.
Oh,
Pretty awesome. You got to get your hands on one of those. I don't have one.
should
Oh,
they
yes, I
put
do,
it in a
actually.
vibrator the way it looked.
Yeah, no kidding. But that shirt is still one of the most requested pieces.
Oh, it is. It's
Damn, I
amazing.
should have gotten that shirt.
Yeah, and look what you're wearing tonight, Angel. What the hell?
This is the new shirt. In the back of the shirt says rock and roll ain't dead.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Well, but we need Angel. You're the big titty guy.
We've
I
got.
wanted to buy the shirt with the latest release, so this shirt promotes the latest album.
Hey,
But you're the titty guy.
hey, Angel, I got great news. You're not gonna believe it. I've got new merch in Nashville this weekend that's gonna have your logo with the girl on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
I will pick you one up at NAM.
Oh, come on.
If Anthony has one at NAM, I will get you a shirt in.
I'm an
There it
extra
is.
large. Yep, there it is. I'm an extra large.
Man, yeah. We
I have
had,
a question.
hey,
Did
you
you
guys,
get
when that record came out, we went looking for that girl. We would go into the radio stations and say, hey, man, if you look like the girl on our album cover, we want you to come down here. We're running a contest. And we went all over America looking for the lady on the album.
no luck in finding her?
Metal
That's
Summoners.
the third chick we gotta find.
Jack, Angel,
Send
you know
in-
where she is.
That's the third chick I gotta find. I gotta find the chick from Slippery When Wet, the Kickin' Valentina chick, this chick now. Damn.
This is my new fun segment. Female Metal Summoners. You guys get us a picture. If there's anybody watching this show where you yourselves can recreate that, I will get you that album signed by the guys.
Wait, I got the new segment for Angel. Which chick won't make you itch?
This is a disease-free show, Bobby.
That's a good one.
Bad Bobby.
I've been
Bad
lucky in that
Bobby.
department. I've been very lucky in that department.
But Anthony, that album is so totally badass, dude. That it's so
Did you
super
get?
cool. And,
Did you get a let? Oh, sorry.
It brings
No,
back
totally. No worries, buddy. But yeah, the song selection, the stuff that you guys were writing and designed to really just kind of to break out like that. Very, very cool, man.
Man, it brings back so many great memories, man. We had so much fun. We toured for about 2 years on that record, and it was just amazing, man. From the minute Walking Shoes came out, you know,
That's such a great single. I mean, you put it on today and it still kicks ass.
Yeah.
we really couldn't believe it. We watched Headbangers Ball every weekend, and then we looked up one weekend and our video was on there, and we couldn't believe it. We said,
So
"Oh,
I got to ask you. So we got Ricky Rackman coming out to Rockin' Pod,
Yep.
Kristen, Zach, and that. How funny is it? You're going to be there, and you got Ricky Rackman, you got which guy from MTV,
Matt Pinfield.
Matt Pinfield.
Matt Pinfield too is going to be there. It's just like
is that MTV?" I think it's right.
MTV. Yeah.
yeah,
What
major
you
flashback for you.
Man, that the times that we went on Headbangers Ball, that was the most insane thing. We couldn't believe it because we watched every weekend, and then all of a sudden we're sitting there looking at the person and going, "Holy shit, this is like really going on, man. We're here and it's happening." And they were so cool, man. They were trying to guide us. We were so freaking out while we were on there. We just want to make sure we were saying the right things to get people to come to the shows and make them aware of the record and everything. But it was so fun. It was such a crazy trip. And, we spent a lot of time together. Keith and I toured and did a lot of the promotional stuff together. So we were kind of just road dogging it. By the time we would show up at those kind of places, we were half cocked, from just being delirious, from running around. But it was such a cool experience, man. We think about it now and it's just like getting hit by lightning. We couldn't believe it. It was incredible.
So, Anthony, I'm going to sneak in here before Jay does the last question and just say, look, you were part of – how cool does it feel to be part of history? You think about it. And I'm not saying, epically, but part of nostalgically of a genre, and you're – capsulated in it. You're part of it, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. It's unbelievable. I think we were just really, really lucky that we came along at the time we did. It was the music industry was so different than it is nowadays. We only had a couple of outlets to get to people through radio and through MTV. Those were kind of our two big outlets, and we were lucky enough to come along at a time where somebody saw something in us and got us out in front of the audience. And the thing that amazes me is when we go out and play now, that people are there and they'll sing the words of the songs. They remember and they're part of that. And it takes us back to that moment. We think the same thing y'all are. It's like, man, it's incredible. And I look around at all the people that are out there that are still playing from that time, and they're freaking still kicking ass, man. I'm telling you, when I went on that Monster Rock thing, I couldn't believe it. Getting to see Jeff Keith and Tesla, I was like, oh my God, this dude's voice, I can't get over it. It's still so great. It's still just inspiring, and it's such a good time, man. We feel really, really blessed that we were out and got to do that, and that we're still together now, that everybody's healthy, and we're just thankful, really, to be totally honest with you guys. We're just thankful that we're able to do it, that we still stay inspired, and that, we're lucky enough to have people like you guys that give us these opportunities to get out and talk to everybody. So it means a lot to us.
Well, we're looking forward to hanging with you and getting some hot chicken and just
barbecue.
We got to get some Prince's hot chicken.
Absolutely.
We love that. Or 3 o'clock in the morning crystal chicks. Like the shit.
No, we'll definitely take care of that. Real quick, Kim Sullivan, I totally saw your question, honey. We're revamping that segment. We're with the new format, as you guys see with the show. Some stuff has not been forgotten about. We're just going to figure out exactly how it fits in correctly. So, Kim Sullivan, we got you covered, sweetie. We're just kind of revamping a couple of things. Angel, let me kick it up to you, brother. Are there any questions that have jumped out to you from our beloved?
Yes. We have, like I said, just want to welcome new fans, Christine and Jim Hamby. Thank you for watching. Jim has a really cool question. If you could join any band, past or present, what band would it be?
Oh God, this is
past
hard.
or present.
Man, yeah, this is hard right now. Oh, I mean, I saw myself in Kiss, but I was the drummer. I was Peter Criss. Then something. Man, I love Humble Pie. That might have been a fun one to jump in. Man, they were doing some cool blue stuff. Oh man, y'all put me on the spot. I don't know, man. Maybe
or bands. It doesn't have to be one. Could be two or three bands that you would
it's
see
that
yourself
band
in.
that just made you go, "Oh, really, dude?"
Yeah, man. I mean, I think from the very beginning, man, it was Kiss. I mean, I just freaking love that.
Good. Yes.
I love that. Man, I don't know. It would be weird to be in a band with double guitars. I've never experienced that. So, what about like for one song? If I did,
if you say the Carpenters, I'm gonna bitch slap you so hard.
No, I know one record that I was thinking about. If I could have been a part of just that band, just to be a part of that record, is Deep Purple, "Perfect Strangers." You guys ever listen to that?
Good answer.
That was a good one, man.
That's such a great album too.
Knocking at Your Back Door. Oh man, that was a good song. And then this
cover on that album is just fucking amazing.
I would have probably liked to have been around in that era, that when that record came, that version of Deep Purple. I think that would have been a good one to get it.
I think anything Glenn Hughes does too. I mean,
yeah.
You look at Glenn. Tell me he isn't the epitome of a fucking rock and roller.
Man,
the guy is timeless.
His voice is still freaking incredible, man. It's so good. It's so soulful.
I'm very interested to see live the stuff that he's doing with the Dead Daisies, because I'm a big Karabi guy.
Oh
and
yeah,
I love me some Glenn Hughes, but I've seen the Dead Daisies multiple times with the mayor, so I'm definitely very curious to see them live with Glenn. That's going to be very, very cool for sure.
Hey Anthony, you gotta one thing about this, we are like a sausage party here. We're like, ooh,
yeah. Hey, listen, I just got to play a show with Karabi down in Texas. We did an acoustic show together, and it was the first time we got to do a show together. And man, he was amazing. His voice is so good.
Well, actually, on that note, Anthony, before I kick it back to the next fan question, you have a show coming up acoustically with Todd Poole.
I do, man. It's going to be out in Kansas City. We're going to be, and I also have one up in Chicago. So we're looking forward to that. Chicago is coming up in July 24th. We're going to be.
What's the matter with Philly or Jersey? What, you don't like us?
Ready to come, man. Come on, let's bring it. Who's the guy I got to talk to get up there? I'd love to come.
I think he's watching the show. We know a guy.
We got a friend in the business.
That's awesome. But yeah, absolutely. But yeah, acoustic show fans. We got Anthony. We got Todd Poole from Roxy. We got some Memphis love for you guys. So definitely get out to support that live music. Angel, who do we have next, brother?
You guys got to see Todd live, man.
I love him.
Good. He's really good.
The last fan question of the night coincidentally goes to the person that asked the first question. And this question is going to put you on the spot. I'm going to need to drink on this one. Give us your top 3 favorite albums of all time.
Oh, Lord. Well, man, that's top 3.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, man.
Or top, or yeah.
So I got to have a Zeppelin on it. I think I'm going to do Physical Graffiti. I think.
Nice.
Which one?
man, I got to go to this Deep Purple one. I love Perfect Strangers. That's
Yeah.
what it is. So I'd say Physical Graffiti, Perfect Strangers. God, the last one. Holy smoke.
Dang.
Dig deep.
Gotta think really
I
hard.
hate to be in your position
I
right
know
now.
you're
That's the
saying
first time I'll ever
Blackfoot.
say that.
There's got to be some Ricky Medlock in there.
Oh, yeah.
He's thinking kids. He's thinking Bad
Little
Company.
double live Gonzo.
Yes, Alive is floating around. I can't do this. It's so hard to
We're putting
get
too much pressure on him. Okay,
Kiss Alive 2.
Let me think for a second. Really,
Shame on you, Candy.
man,
Andy. I mean, this is tough. Top 3. Come.
I think I got to go with a Steve Marriott. It's either
Oh, that's pretty good.
Really?
this. I think
You're making us all look like Nipper the dog now going, what?
the Humble Pie record, I think.
Yes.
So it's hard because Janis Joplin's good. I won her in the hits. It's just tough, man. If I had to pick,
Yes, it is. That's why I had to drink just to ask that question. There's no way else I'm going to do that sober.
this question is driving me to have one, I think. Yeah, no, that's good.
No
Candy.
problem.
You
I'll
always
do
have
one
an
for you.
edible.
I can say that's free, but I may have to sleep on that. I may have to think on it for a minute. That's hard.
No worries, man. We'll bring this question back on your return episode. That's what we'll do for sure.
That will be the Rock and Pod episode.
Yeah.
The three of
There
us
you
will be
go.
down there with danger.
Give me time to think. That way.
Exactly, for sure.
To
So,
be
fans,
continued at Rock and Pod.
So as we draw to the end of this episode, guys, we have a lot of opportunities, fans, so that you guys know, to see Anthony and Tora Tora live. We've got Basement East on July 9th. Check them out there. We've got Rockin' Pod August 7th in Nashville. We've got BLE Masquerade, 30 bands, 3 days. With Tora Tora there as well, and that is in October. And also make sure that you're checking out Anthony Corder and Todd Poole when doing their acoustic gigs together as well in Chicago. So definitely check that out. Before we close everything down, we're actually going to bring somebody in right quick. I want you guys to meet somebody.
That's our
Because
newbie.
everybody who knows that has been following us for all of our episodes, everybody that's been involved with us is a member of the Brotherhood, is a member of the fraternity. Jamar, I want you to put yourself on the big screen, bro.
Yes.
So, guys, this is Jamar. I want you guys to show him a lot of love. He's been fantastic. He's going to be taking over the producing duties for us. And as you guys see, he is absolutely fantastic. He does a great job. So, Jamar, say hi, brother.
What's going on? It's a pleasure to be with you guys. It's a pleasure to be with the core 4 plus one more. So I guess that makes me the one more. I'm happy about it. I've enjoyed it. I don't know a whole lot about rock and roll.
Buckle up, Jamar.
Oh yeah, it gets wild, but I like it, man. I like it. I'm enjoying myself.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, man. And we're gonna have a lot of fun. You know, we might not be your first genre, but we're gonna be a solid part of you. So
hey, I'm down. Let's do it.
Awesome, man.
What do you
Happy
mean,
to have
Jay,
you.
we're
brother.
not his
Thank
first?
you so much, man, for the first episode with you, man. You absolutely killed it, man. We are hyped to continue on, brother.
Yes.
Thank you guys. I
Anthony,
appreciate it.
thank you too for being.
Thank you, fans. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in with us. Make sure you're supporting all these bands as music's coming back out live, and check out all the upcoming stuff with Tora Tora. You know, we thank you know how much we love BLE and the support with him. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Brad and to Dawn as well.
Yeah.
Brad, we wish you a speedy recovery, man. We know you're doing great, dude, but we love you, man. You're right there with us. So, fans, hit up all of the socials. So on that note, Anthony, if people are looking for you, where can they find you and Tora Tora?
Man, look us up on toratoramusic.com and also go to our social media. It's us on there talking to you on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that. We're happy to talk to you. We love hearing from you and where you're writing us from. So that gives us some ideas to come and see you live. And for the shows, get ready for us in Nashville, in Chicago. We're going to be out in Denver with the Wolfpack Productions. That's coming up. We're also doing some shows with Enough's Enough. That'll be in September.
Ah, very cool.
Yes.
That's going to be out in the Midwest. We're headed that way. And then we're going to be, of course, with Brad at the Masquerade. We can't wait. It's going to remind us of our first shows, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
We threw parties at our warehouse that were Halloween party, Masquerade party. So this is going to
coming to Elvira that night, you know.
Yep.
Wait, I gave my costume away.
Yeah, man. The BLE Tora Tora show from a couple years ago. It's hanging right there.
Yes, man. It was a lot of fun. We love it, man. We have a good time every time we get together. So it'll be a lot of fun, man. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. So, guys, this weekend, M3, the Metal Summit will be there, guys.
Yes.
So we want to see all of your
Guys, look
smiling faces.
We are here.
Guys, we
And
want to
I
take
have-
all the pictures we can with you. Spend some time with us. We're going to rock out. And then in Nashville, again, Rockin' Pod, the Metal Summit, and Anthony Corder will be there. So we can't wait to see you. And just because this is fun and I just like pimping us out, Masquerade in Baltimore. The Metal Summit will be there, and so will Tora Tora. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with us.
Wait,
this
who's hosting that night?
Yeah, who's hosting? I heard
Shucks.
Oh,
So
that would be Mr. J.
the hosts for
The most.
Masquerade will be your beloved Jay and Psycho Steve. And we're going to have a great time bringing all the hype, all the energy, and everything that you guys would expect from a BLE show. So we're really, really excited to get to see you guys. But fans, thank you guys so much for tuning in as always with us. Make sure that you're supporting Anthony and Tora Tora.
Yep.
Hit all of us up on our socials. Hit up the Metal Summit on Facebook. Make sure you're also following us on Twitter and subscribing and hitting the notify bell on YouTube because we are going live on all of those platforms. That way you will be able to see us, all of our great guests, any platform that you choose. We are going to have our guest announcement on Friday for next week's episode. It's a gnarly one, guys. You're going to be super duper stoked about it. So tune in on Friday. Announcements coming next weekend. Next weekend. This weekend. M3. Next week. The Metal Summit. As always, thank you guys so much.
Hurry up. I got 5 minutes till I hit the last
all about you.
bar.
Anthony, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you guys so much, man, for having me. You guys have a great weekend, man. Y'all have fun up there.
Absolutely.
All right.
All you fans, thank you guys so much. We will see you guys next week. As always, you know where you've been. You've been watching the Metal Summit.